Good morning. Hello, hi. Could you kindly turn down the music? Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. Could you kindly settle down? We are about to commence in exactly 5 seconds. So I'm going to count you down and we are going to commence. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. To start us off this morning, I'd like to welcome on stage a singer, a songwriter, international award-winning theater maker, actor, and mental health advocate, Itana. Could you kindly give her a warm welcome?
Sanbanan? Oh, you guys have... Ooh. Apologies for that feedback. Ninjani? Mishani, right? Are you sure? Are you guys sure? I don't know, the energy is not giving. Are you guys okay? Yeah. Okay, that sounds a bit better. I always feel awkward getting up on the stage. I just feel like I'm so tall. Like, you know? Anyways, my name is Itana, as they've introduced me, and I am your tiny bit of entertainment for this morning. It is such an honor for me to be here this morning with all of you and to celebrate and to hold hands and to hold space with each and every one of you. So sing with me, please. Please. I don't have backing vocals. I don't have a band. So I'm going to need you guys to gooi vocals this morning. I know I need patalwanga, but it's fine, you know. Thank you so much. Let's get started. I know all of you know this one. So I'm gonna... Is it okay if I step down? I feel like I'm so tall. Just for no belly, soft life, soft life. Con. Seafood, let us falling apart. Not just for no belly, soft life, soft life. Your turn, sing. Hey, it's falling apart. Not just for no belly, soft life, soft life. One more time, sing. Seafood, let us falling apart. Not just for no belly, soft life, soft life. Masihlale phansi, thobelelane ngozomi botanzi. Sikelelane, kumele impilo ibe njalo. Oh please, manijabula, ngicela nikhumbule na. Oh please, manijabula, ngicela nikhumbule na. Ndivulele, ngicela nindivulele, kon. All right, not just for no pity, soft life, sing. Not just for no pity, soft life, con. Seafood, oh, con. Seafood, So this song is so important in my life. I think for everyone's life it should be, because not only is it like I suppose a plea and a beg, asking for help, asking for space, but also it shows humility, right? Because we lack that sometimes. We lack the ability to say to someone, hi, I'm here and I need help. And I think there's something absolutely so important and so beautiful about asking for help. You are not pleading, you're not begging, you're asking for help. Here we go. Seafood lele, ningas falling apart. Not just for no belly, soft life, soft life. Seafood lele, ningas falling apart. Not just for no belly, soft life, soft life. Ningas falling apart. Not just for no belly, soft life. Seafood lele, seafood lele, ningas falling apart. Not just for no belly, soft life, soft life. Thank you. Now please have more track. More track, please. Moonchild, carrying the stars in her eyes. Earth child, bringing growth with her mind. Soil child, connected with those buried beneath the soil. Your time is near, your time has come. So wake up, wake up. There's an army of people that need you. Please rise up, rise up. You're the strength and the voice for the people. There's a calling on your name. You need to lead the way. Your time is near. Your time has come. Sunchild, bringing light with her smile. Flower child, bringing growth with her mind. Water child, connected with those buried beneath the sea. Your time is near, your time has come. So wake up, wake up. There's an army of people that need you. Please rise up, rise up. You're the strength and the voice for the people. There's a calling on your name. You need to lead the way. Your time is near. Your time is now. Thank you. This next song, before it starts, let me just check which next song. Okay. There we go. You can lower the track for me, please. Thank you. You can color in the roses, make me feel like I'm important. But your lies, they always tell the truth. See, your actions always tell the truth. You can color in the roses, make me feel like I'm important. But your actions always tell the truth. Yeah, your actions always tell the truth. I'm done playing games, I'm done pulling strings, I'm done putting effort, 'cause you never do, never do. I'm done playing games, I'm done pulling strings, I'm done putting effort, 'cause you never do. Color in the roses make me feel like I'm important, but your lies, they always, they always, they always, they always, they always, they always. The roses make me feel like I'm important, but your actions always, always, always. I'm done playing games, yeah, I'm done pulling strings, yeah, I'm done putting effort, 'cause you never do, never do. Thank you. We can play the next song. That's not one of mine. Are you guys still okay? Okay. I feel like every time I'm about to speak, but yet too. Sometimes it's push and pull, but I never wanna lose you. I don't want to. Oh, baby. Ndithanda wena wedwa, and though it's not always easy, know that I love you. I really do. Ngingo wakho, and all I want you to know. Ndizele wena. Snap with me. Ndizele wena. Ndizele wena. Oh. Ndizele wena. I'm here just for you. Sometimes I lose my temper. Akekho endimthanda njengawe. Oh baby, ndimanya ndibaleka, andikwazi ukuphila ngaphandle kwakho. You keep me safe in your arms, my baby. Ndizele wena. Ndizele wena. Oh, ndizele wena. I'm here just for you. Here just for you. I'm here just for you. Thank you. Now, this is my last song. I think. Yes, it should be my last song. Is it okay if I have some water? Is that right? Are you sure? I'm very worried about this event. Your energy, it's... Do you want to maybe let's try again? Because it's my last song, I'm gonna try liven up the energy. Is that okay? Is that right? Can I do a little exercise just before I do my last song? I'm going to introduce myself again, and we're going to pretend that waka ino Beyonce. Ne? So if Beyonce, the Beyonce Queen B, if you want it, then you should have put a ring, you know? If my queen walked in, how would you welcome her to South Africa? Okay, I'm gonna practicality, right? We're gonna try to get ladies and gentlemen. Did you guys hear my voice over ladies? I'm joking. Ladies and gentlemen, for her last song, Itana. No. Beyonce, and you're sitting down. Let's try it again. Ladies and gentlemen, for her last song, presenting Itana. Thank you. I feel so much better. Did you guys like, No, the room is awake. Solo is saying hi. We have arrived. Thank you, Beyonce. Let's do our last song. Now I know you know this one. So as your morning exercise, if you can, if you want to, I would love you to. Let's have a good time, yeah? Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Please give her a round of applause one more time. Please give Beyonce a round of applause one more time. That was absolutely amazing. Or is it me? Did I think? Yeah, height, ne? Good morning, everybody. Now, I always say that in any entrepreneur's journey, there's always a story about a brand, a company, an individual, or even a platform that helped propel them to their next level, whether it be through recognition, whether it be through an opportunity, whether it be through giving a platform, or even in the words of Gen Z, whether it's a cosign, there's always that one thing that they recall in their journey. And today, we are here because of such a platform that cultivates and celebrates youth excellence. For that, I would like to say welcome to the official second annual Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards launch. My name is Pamela Mtanga, darling, and you guys are officially welcome. Now, I'm not one to brag, right? I'm not one to brag, but I was kind of coerced to say this, that as the 2022 Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards Top Personality and Influencer of the Year, I mean, yeah, did you hear that? Sounded so good. As that, I would like to say this is a platform and community that you would like to be a part of, because it does not only celebrate the youth, but it actually helps us to get to our next level, whether it be people recognizing us on these stages or people recognizing the work that we do, experiencing our brands that we've built, whether it be a product or personal brands, right? So the future is Africa, and if we don't believe it ourselves first, who will? Right? Shout out, shout out. So let's get into today's housekeeping rules before we get into the formalities, right? First things first, there's always a question that we dread to ask when we get to events, because you don't want to seem some type of way, but I'm going to spell it out for you. The Wi-Fi password is solo at 2020 with a capital S. So it's solo at 2020 when you're keying in the password for the Wi-Fi. Second thing is that the bathrooms rather are towards the wine cellar on your left. So the wine cellar on your left is where the bathrooms are. Please do make sure that you don't go into the kitchen and see secrets zooms. Okay? In a kitchen towards the wine cellar, that's where exactly the bathrooms are. And then lastly, the hashtag for today is hashtag Top 16 YOBA. So Top 16 YOBA, and the last hashtag is hashtag Youth Excellence, because we are what? Excellent, right? Exactly, exactly. So if you believe that Africa is the future, I would like to hear a bit of commotion. Exactly. Exactly. I like that. I like that. I can actually see that you've woken up. So a big thank you to all of you who have attended today. You look like people with money. Let's just get that out of the way. You look like people with money, with businesses, with like, hey, did you JSE level? Okay. You look like you're there, but you chose to spend your morning with us right here at Solo. So thank you so much for making time to be a part of this launch. So let's get into the actual reason why we're here, the most important part. And shout out to everyone who is streaming online as well. I never forgot you. Shout out to everyone who's streaming online. So let's get into the formalities of the day. Now, we would like to know why this initiative exists, how it performed in the year 2022, why is it back for the year 2023, and what impact do they aim to achieve in the year 2023. With that said, I would like to welcome on stage the founder of the Top 16 Youth-Owned Brand Awards, the person behind this entire initiative who believes in the youth so much that he creates such a platform, of course, with his partners. Welcome on stage, Mahlangu. Where is he? Pat. He even has a theme song. I want to be this cool. I want to be this cool. Hey!
patterns and pattern the brand. If it's enormous, flawless, gorgeous, don't be cautious, cordless. Making a move, making a hustle, all of them making a ballers. Watch how you branded, man. A pat on the back is a pat from the man. Better be branded, man. A pat from the patterns and pattern the brand. If it's enormous, flawless, gorgeous, don't be cautious, cordless. Making a move, making a hustle, all of them making a ballers. Pushing a passion, making a fashion.
One, two. One, two. One, two. When I say pat, 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 say pat on brands. Pat, pat, pat. You can do better than that, right, Zazie? Pat, pat, pat. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to come here at the launch of the Top 16 Youth on Brands Awards. It really feels good to be standing on the stage and just seeing all these beautiful faces here. And particularly, shine the spotlight on the 2022 winners. They are our VVIP. I see Hamosa Flo. I see Hamosa Flo. I see Tshepo. I see, where's Deliver Speed? Is he here? Not here yet. Okay, cool. But women leaders say, how can I forget that? How can I forget you, Alma? Thank you so much. It really means a lot. I'm going to try and be sort of short. I've got a short presentations that I'd like to share with you guys, just to outline the vision and the mission for 2023. All right, so this thing working. This thing is not working. Can you go to the next slide, please? I just want to take you on a journey, We always hear the story of June 16. All of us, I think, we're very familiar with what happened on that fateful day of June 16, and everyone has been saying, Yazinchaya Manje is not doing much. We all, we are lazy, we are entitled. We're hearing the stories every now and then. And they say the youth of 1976 fought a political fight. And the big question is really, what is the youth of today fighting for? Any takers? Survivor. We're fighting to survive, just to breathe. And I just want you guys to imagine this. The largest mall in Africa, just housing only African brands. Just let that sink in your minds. A physical structure existing, just housing only African brands. We have our own Platinum Walk that just houses only made in Africa. Wouldn't that be phenomenal? But then the question is, where do we start? We start by recognizing those that have already started. Those that are brave enough to start from scratch, build a brand with their friends or family, only having few customers, and end up having a store in Hyde Park. Wouldn't that be great? Yes. So that's why we exist as the pattern brands, right? If you look at my outfit, how cool is it? Let me distract you a bit. Shout out to Tshepo, shout out to Patu. So on the agenda today, obviously I'm going to tell you what the top 16 youth-owned brands are about, and who are our stakeholders, our positioning. In marketing, we always talk about positioning. What do you want you guys to think about us after the fact, after we've launched? When you see our marketing online bid, there's only one sentence that you need to think of us, and I'll share with that, you guys. All right. So our journey really is a journey of, I'd say, progress. Reflective of South Africa's youth. So when you start something out of nothing, and you just start by making one jean, and the quality is not that great, and people give you harsh feedback and say, no, you can't be charging this much, but the product is not that great, you You don't then say, we are shying. You know, you go back to the drawing board, you fix your quality, you fix your product, then you reiterate. And that's progress, you know. And I think many of us here that have worked in marketing and branding, and oftentimes when you go to market, hardly it happens that you go to market with a perfect product. Who of you has ever launched a perfect product or had a perfect event, right? We launch, then we build, we reiterate, and we grow, and we progress. And that's what our journey is all about. It all started in 2016 when I was finishing off my master's at UJ. And really, it was just a passion project, Pattern Brands. You know, I was watching a lot of Megs on Media. And I figured, look, if there can be a Megs on Media, there should be a Pattern Brands, right? And what would Pat do? He would give Pats on brand excellence, right? Then now we move on to 2021. Fast forward, 5 years later, we established, I just read an article, and it was inspired by June 16 is coming, and I'm like, okay, many media platforms are doing, you know, things around the youth, and you know, in June, we are hot topic, you know? Then I was like, okay, how about I put together a list of top youth-owned brands in the country, 16 of them. Obviously, 16, June 16. Then, after the fact, someone comes to me and says, hey, you know, that recognition, they put it on their bio, you know, on Instagram to say listed in the top 16 at Pattern Brands, you know. They use it as a motivation to get their product listed on one of the largest online retailers. You know, for them, it was a big achievement. Then I figured, look, how about I do this at a grander scale, right? And it brought us to the inaugural Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards in 2021. So the 2022. And those of you that were there, I know as some of you, I can see Bo, Toby, you know, Bombali, they were at the main event, and you saw what happened there. Full to the brim, and really all-around good energy around youth-owned brands and the excitement that it created. So we are here now, 2023, and as we cast our eyes into the future as well. I'm just gonna play you a short video, and really I want you guys to pay attention in terms of what is it that in that space, in that short space of time, I think we only had 2 months. My team still hates me for this today because we worked really hard to deliver nothing but an excellent award show.
Well, let's head to South Africa now, where youth unemployment is at a staggering 66.5%.
The naysayers keep saying the youth is lazy, entitled, apathetic, privileged, and stubborn. They're asking, the youth of 1976 fought a political fight. What is the youth of today fighting for? Despite the challenges our youth keep facing, South Africa's youth is resilient and tenacious. They're building businesses, creating employment, and leading global initiatives. They keep fighting and finding innovative ways to rise. They're rising. They keep multiplying. However, 4 in 5 small businesses don't make it past 5 years. Why? One of the biggest factors is lack of support and diminishing motivation. Recognition is the greatest motivator. Pattern Brands initiated the Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards, the first of its kind in South Africa that recognizes and celebrates the brands that are owned by the youth. Despite the mountain of obstacles these brands face, they keep climbing. They break every rule in the book and show no respect for the norm. They're so determined to get to the top. Through appreciation comes the confidence to strive for excellence. To deliver a world-class award show with zero marketing budget, Pattern Brands turned to PR and digital creative agency, Lerato Agency, which developed and implemented an integrated marketing campaign. Great partnerships were formed with Reveal Outdoor and UJFM to generate awareness. The team also took to the streets of Johannesburg to promote the awards. At At the core of the campaign was a massive PR drive. South Africa media loved the initiative and reported every milestone of the event. The results were staggering. On the eve of the day that molded South Africa's history of 1976, 15 June 2022, the inaugural Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards were hosted. An event that brought expressive visionaries together and made another mark in the chapters of history. Over 480 nominations received, 60 brands shortlisted by an esteemed panel of judges, 18,000 votes cast by the public, and 15 brands awarded. The show was sold out and social media was abuzz. The Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards generated over 4.5 million in PR value and millions of social media impressions. This is the start of potentially building a square mile in Africa, housing African-owned brands. Brand builders are nation builders. Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards, the gold standard of youth excellence.
I was gonna be like, if you don't clap me no more. Nah. Yeah, so that's what we managed to do in a very short period of time, and we managed to develop, get some amazing results, and these are some of our winners, not some, actually all of our winners for 2022. Some of them you know, some of them you don't know them yet, but again, this is a story of progress. So, this is Tshepo. How many of you are familiar with Tshepo? Tshepo Jeans, Tshepo? Tshepo is a very beautiful brand, as you can see. And whenever I'm wearing this t-shirt, people think I'm Tshepo. Hey, Tshepo. No, Tshepo is a brand, and Tshepo has 2 stores in one in Hyde Park and another one in Victoria Yard, and also obviously an online distribution. Tshepo creates employment. Tshepo inspires a lot of young kids who are coming up, creating clothing label. It is unheard of what the brand has managed to achieve in such a short space of time. And I think also he'll be given the opportunity to say something, because Tshepo was the overall top brand for 2022. And that award doesn't come easy. It's not only on popular votes, but also our esteemed judges, get to engage and debate as to which brand deserves to be the overall top brand. So I'll just another snippet just to remind you in terms of how far we've come. Can I have audio on this? All right, let's keep it moving. So obviously, the famous Simon Sinek always talks about the why. Why do we do what we do? And encourages people, whenever you start something, start with the why. Because the why is your North Star, right? We are all about shining the light on youth excellence. That's the primary reason why the Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards exist. What do? We created a platform that recognizes the youth contribution towards our economy, and as well as promoting a positive image of South Africa, right? Many of us want to go to the US, want to go to China, want to go to other parts of the world, simply because of the exposure we've had through the brands that come from those countries. Some of us have never been to America, but we know how American food tastes like through the brands that they export, right? So even with us as South Africans, we need to be aspiring to that. We need to give the world a taste of South Africa. And that taste will be done by made in South Africa brands. There's nothing else. You can take your squam when you're visiting your friend with Masonja I5. Still, it won't suffice. We need to be advocating and pushing for a brand-led South Africa. And how we do it, so we make information accessible. So this is just more than an award show. Please bear that in mind. So we create information, and we create access to information. Then also we profile and give exposure to emerging youth-owned brands. So our stakeholders, these are not ordinary human beings. They're actually crazy. And I think those that have watched that Apple, that classic Apple advert that says, here's to the crazy ones, you know? These people are not normal. Bo Khudisang, I mean, Khudiracheti, sorry. What delivery gas speed? What Tshepo? Bombali. These people are not normal. They are crazy. You know, who thinks of starting a jean brand and say, I'm gonna name it Tshepo, and I'm gonna make it a global brand? It doesn't take an ordinary human being. These people don't wait for shelf space and Pick and Pay. They're building their own stores. Those are our stakeholders. These are the people that matter to us and the people that we celebrate. And of course, for you for brand owners or big brands, corporates, these guys are good to associate with. If you're looking for good brand ambassadors and influencers, look to the entrepreneurs, the brand builders, those that start with nothing and create something valuable and create opportunities for other people in the process. We call them the expressive visionaries. That's how we've dubbed our stakeholders. Because really, like I did mention earlier on, these are no ordinary human beings. They have visions, they can cast their eyes into the future, and they can take the risk, to chase their dreams. So primarily, we're looking at established youth-owned brands. Then also, secondary to that, upcoming youth-owned brands. And then obviously, any youth, who's building a brand. The ultimate goal is that any young person starting a business today in South Africa should one day dream of winning a Yoba. So that's our grand vision, right? And they should see the people like Tshepo, like Bothio, like Bombali, like Bonandi, saying, look, I also want to be crowned as a top brand. And that's where we're pushing it. Then, of course, we cannot leave out our industry people. No, sorry, this is, our industry people in the marketing space, because these are people that give off their time, like our judges. They volunteered, no one gets paid. This other day, I went to pitch to a very prominent businessman by any measure, and he's like, I need to pay him to be in the judge because he's popular. I was like, no, hell no. I'm not going to pay you to be a judge when I have real captains of industry volunteering their time in this initiative and actually, judging the award. So the marketing community really matters in this initiative because it's all about, again, pushing that brand-led African Renaissance, South African Renaissance. Then, obviously, our government, we can't leave them behind, As we build and grow this, we do need that buy-in, from government. Obviously, that doesn't come easy, but over time, I hope they will see the vision. So people are asking, like, what is the criteria, right? Who gets to partake in all of this? So I know in some corporates, the definition for youth varies in terms of age. Some say it's 18 to 24, others say it's 13 to 15, Ours in the ANC Youth League is 40. Ours is, ours is 18 to 35, right? And you say the brand must be older than a year, so it must have sort of stood the test of time a bit, have a website or a credible online platform, and also some level of awareness, must be operating in South Africa, and the person must be a South African citizen or somehow, have permanent residency. So part of our retention strategy is also to build a community, because it's all good and well to give trophies and thank you, goodbye, pat on the back, pun intended. But we're building a community and what we call the circle of excellence. So all the past winners, they all fall under that. So what makes us distinctive? And I think what our president said, I think it was 2017, and I know he may not be the popular guy right now, but I think he said something very profound. He said, it is extremely positive that the younger generation has more entrepreneurial intentions compared to previous generations. This sentiment needs to be cultivated by creating the best possible entrepreneurial ecosystem. And that's what it's about, right? It's about cultivating the soil so that entrepreneurship, grows and flourishes. We are more than just, like I said, an award show. At the top there, we've got pattern brands. At the bottom, then you've got the awards. But really at the core is that we want to be a knowledge hub or an information hub, if I have to say that. And again, grow onto that circle of excellence by having the winner's dinner, thought leadership pieces, which, by the way, I invite the marketers here to contribute, in that. It's good that you got the experience, but it helps even better when you share that experience. So writing articles or opinion pieces is going to help this platform grow. So this is also an invite to everyone that's here to say, if you want to contribute to this, we'll be having a roadshow which I'll share more details. So in terms of the competitive landscape, when I come and pitch and present this, we're fighting for the same budgets if you look at these key stakeholders. And we're not saying we are better than them, but this is just to say, look, we acknowledge that there's competition, and also the best thing that you can ever do is to learn from your competition and how they've done it. So if you look at some of them, you look at the lorries, that's where we're going, right? In terms of the standard that we aspire to. Then with us, as you can see, we've got, our podcast through the Pattern Brands platform. We had a presenter sesh that we did, for people, giving young people, again, a platform to showcase their talent. So we had a presenter sesh. We had a high-profile host, high-profile keynote. What we're working towards now is actually getting this initiative televised on national TV. And believe me, this year it will happen. Then live streaming, media, and blue carpet, celebrities. Do you guys know this guy here? Olindo. Babaga Valdo. Yeah, and we're also moving into the exhibition space. So this is our grand vision for 2023, right? And again, this is an invite. So I'm going to wrap up just now. So really what we're trying to do is that we all know that many young people are good at starting. We all, even not only young people, we're very good at starting. But where we fall off, once we reach the plateau, we start leveling and we go down. We don't grow, we stop innovating, or we become complacent, and. So what we are doing as the Yobas is to be the catalyst. I get touched when some of the winners come to me and say, you know what, I was on the verge of giving up. I was thinking this thing is not working. But this win, it really means something to me. It encouraged me, it encourages the team to do even better and aspire for more. So because of time, I'm going to stop here. Really, what we are is, we are the gold standard of youth excellence. There's nothing before us, there's nothing after us. We are the benchmark. All right. Thank you so much. I invite particularly the brands, the big brands, to come on board in this journey. It's not possible, to do it alone. So we must all pull together in pushing a brand-led South African renaissance. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm back. Pat is one of those people, I don't know if you guys speak isiXhosa or hear isiXhosa, but they get on stage like, Andizobamde. I'm not a man of many words. I just heard backstage that apparently it was supposed to be 3 minutes max. right? But thank you so much, Pat. I can hear the passion that you have for what you have created. I don't know if I should get on stage. I think I did too much. I'm going to stand here. So next up on stage, because Pat is a man of many words, he's already introduced some of the people that I'll be welcoming on stage rather. So next up, I'd like to welcome a person who's going to tell us a bit more about the criteria. Probably if you are sitting here as a person who has a brand and you're wondering, how can I get into this youth-owned brand top 16? Or how, as a sponsor, can I get involved, and why should I get involved, and what is the criteria? Is this legit, or are they picking their friends? So we would like to welcome on stage someone who is a marketer, a person who is an author, and the deputy chairperson of the jury for the Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards. Please welcome on stage Lebo Lion. Lebo.
Hello, hello everyone. Should I be standing on the stage or just standing here? Where should I stand?
Stage, I think you should be elevated.
Is that
yes.
better? Good morning everyone. Before I start talking about the judging criteria and all of that good stuff, I want us to relax a little bit more. I was saying to Pam backstage, I was like, is everyone okay? It's so quiet out there. And it's scary to walk out on a stage where everyone is quiet and the mic is off. Can everyone hear me? Mic check. Okay, there we are. So what I want to do is be the embarrassing adult that I always used to cringe at when I was younger. And I'm going to start this conversation off with an icebreaker. Now, I'm not a very funny person, so I'm warning you in advance that this icebreaker is not going to be funny, but I'm going to try to be funny. Are you guys ready? Are you sure? Are you very sure? Okay, listen carefully. Our icebreaker for this morning is Fat Penguin. Let it drop. Are you getting it? I'm hearing a few chuckles here. Are we getting it? Fat Penguin. Fat penguins break ice. Ah, it's clicking now. Yes. Yes. I am not a comedian. Luckily, I don't get paid to make people laugh because I'd be broke. But yeah, today we're talking about the Yobas and we're talking about the judging criteria, and I think it's a very important conversation for us to have because people need to know that this process is fair, it's impartial, and that we really do endeavor to find the biggest and most successful youth-owned brands in the country. Now, my belief is that as entrepreneurs and marketers, we are the creators, curators, and custodians of culture. And to me, culture is the way that a society lives and breathes. It's the manifestation of what we believe, what we create, and what we produce. And I think that is very profound because it shows you the big job that marketers and entrepreneurs have and the contribution that they make to society. And I think what's so profound about the Yobas is that what Pat has done is he's made it a monocle that shines a spotlight on the incredible work that youth-owned brands have done, but he also shows corporate sponsors and people who just don't know the incredible possibilities and potential that exists within the youth. And with a country that has such a large cohort of unemployed youth and youth who are talented and have potential, it's important for us to shine the spotlight on them so that the opportunities can get to them. Because I'm telling you now, as somebody who's a youth and who has worked with the youth, there's so much money sitting there. There's so many opportunities sitting there. There's so much talent sitting there. But because the eyes are not on it, and the resources are not channeled towards those people, they are not able to produce and participate the way that they're supposed to. So these awards are not just awards so we can celebrate and have a party. No, these are profound. And they are creating a South African culture that I think is long overdue. And that is a culture of, sorry, my apologies, I saw something over there. But that is a culture of really speaking to the makeup of our country. the fact that it is youth-driven, the fact that there is so much creativity and there are so many opportunities. When we sat down as judges for the Youth Owned Brand Awards, it was very important for us, and it's actually quite funny that this criteria was the one that we had the biggest challenge with, and that was identifying youth-owned brands. A lot of people wanted to remix what youth meant, the definition of youth. We had 45-year-old youth who applied, which didn't make any sense because according to the government, if you are older than 35, you are not a youth. So that was one of the biggest things, that we were making sure that we were highlighting and profiling and getting submissions from people who are part of the youth. And then we also focused on fairness, and I'll tell you how we created a fair structure, and we focused on objectivity. And I think one of the biggest things that we did, because we used a three-pronged approach, was have a very intense focus on market participation. Because a lot of the times when you look at brands, it almost seems as if they're operating in a silo. They tell the people what the people should have. They tell the people what the people should want. And what we're saying with the Yobas is, these brands exist and these brands are credible and reputable because of the people that stand behind them and the customers that galvanize behind them and buy from them on a daily basis. So the market participation part of the Yobas was probably one of the most important parts, and that is saying to people, sign up for the Yobas and let your community vote for you. And the people with the most votes are the ones who we're going to consider in our selection criteria. The second part of our three-pronged process was having judges like myself from different parts of the marketing industry judging industries that they do not participate in, so that we are fair, so that we are impartial. For example, someone like me would be judging the automotive sector because I don't really know much about cars and I don't know the players in the car sector. So I'm almost approaching that sector with fresh eyes, as if I'm a new consumer to that sector, and I think that's very important. And that's how we worked through choosing the people who are going to be part of the Youth Owned Brand Awards. And it was a very rigorous process. We spent hours and weekends sometimes complaining to Pat that we have to wake up at 7 in the morning to come and sit in a boardroom and argue, because marketers, we can never agree. So 2 of us will believe something else, 3 of us will believe something else, and we'll spend 3 hours just debating that one point. But it was not in vain, because we really wanted to make sure that the people who win not only fit the criteria, but can actually symbolize the core beliefs and the vision of the Yobas. And I think with winners like Tshepo Jeans and Mbali and Pamela, we're able to see that you can't dispute that they should have won. At least from my perspective, when I look at it, you can't dispute that they should have won. And that was the point of the Yobas. This year, we're changing things up a little bit, because what we're doing is we are asking people to submit entries to be judges for the Yobas. Last year, Pat handpicked us. This year, we're saying, if you think you're a marketing expert and you know a couple of things and you've got something to add, just sign up onto the Yoba website and let's see if you've got what it takes to judge these brands. And the second thing we're doing this year that we didn't do last year is we have a Yoba website. And now we're asking entrepreneurs to sign up and submit their submissions on the website instead of on the Pat on Brands platforms, because this awards entity has become its own business. It's become that big. Like Pat was saying, they made about 4.5 million rands worth of PR revenue, which is great. So it shows you just the power and the impact of these awards. I just want to ask people in the crowd, because everyone seems so quiet. Maybe I'm being very serious. I see Mbali chuckling here. I don't know what she's laughing at, so I want people to participate a little bit. When you think about the word youth, right? And I'm getting to a point here. What do you think? When you think of a youth business, what comes to your mind? Innovation.
Innovation, agility, fresh ideas.
Okay, so she says innovation, agility, fresh ideas. Anybody else? When you think of the word youth-owned business, what do you think? Struggle. There we go, some truth over there. Anybody else? Opportunity. You can be positive or not so positive. It's okay. Opportunity. Anybody else? longevity. Somebody said bravery as well. What? Competition. I love that, competition. Anything else? Green screen. Oh, wow. Some product placement there. Anybody else? Energy. I love that, energy. So one of the biggest things that we actually had to think about when we were judging last year's awards was the element of business versus brand. And that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. The fact that there is a difference between a business and a brand. And the Youth-Owned Brand Awards are celebrating people who are able to build great brands, not necessarily great businesses. My 2 cents is that it's much easier to find a good business than it is to find a great brand, because it's hard to build brand. I always say to people that a brand is that part of your business that can make you money whilst you're sleeping, because it speaks for you in rooms that you are not in, it works for you when you are not able to work, and it galvanizes people around you even when you are not present and you are not able to explain what you do or what you stand for. So we're saying we want the next level business people, not the ones who just create businesses, but the ones who build brands. So we're talking about longevity, we're talking about legacy. We're looking at people who are going to be creating jobs for the future. And that's very important. So I want people to think about that when they think Youth-Owned Brand Awards. Yes, there are lots of great businesses out there, but as marketers and entrepreneurs on the Youth-Owned Brand Awards panel, we are looking for brand builders, not just business owners. Now, I didn't want to make this conversation a very long one, so I think I'm going to end here, and I want to end it with a quote that I shared on my podcast a couple of weeks ago. And it goes a little something like this. If you don't distinguish yourself from the crowd, you will just be the crowd. If you don't distinguish yourself from the crowd, you will just be the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm imploring you today to take part in the Youth-Owned Brand Awards in any capacity that you can. Whether you want to sponsor, whether you want to be our biggest supporter, whether you want to be an entrepreneur who participates, whatever the case may be, I'm saying hop onto this movement now. Show South Africa what you stand for. Show them that you stand for disruption. Show them that you stand for the youth. Show them that you stand for progress. The time is now. And if you don't hop onto this movement now, you're going to miss out. By the time you hop on this train, it will have left you. This is the ample time. Please, if you are thinking about being part of something that's impactful, something that's changing the game in South Africa, the Youth-Owned Brands Awards is what you should be looking at. Thank you.
Can you please give her a round of applause one more time? She wasn't too pleased. She wasn't too pleased. Thank you so much to everybody. I must say everyone looks good. You put on your best Hermosa flow today. Ne? You put on your best Hermosa flow today. Can you please turn down the music a bit? Ege. 100%. So the next person I'm about to call on stage owns a brand that has established itself as one of the most loved South African brands of 2022. As a result, this next person's brand won the top 16 Youth-Owned Brand Awards overall brand. I'm talking about a brand that has a pop-up store in the School of Amsterdam. Denim School of Amsterdam, something like that. He just told me, you know what I'm saying? There's one thing, and the second part is that this brand is purchased both locally and internationally. The likes of Meghan Markle wear this brand. Why are you not wearing this brand? Exactly. Next on stage, I'd like to call up Tshepo Jeans. Tshepo, please welcome Tshepo.
Hello?
Yes, welcome Tshepo.
It's not Tshepo Jeans, it's Tshepo Mohlala.
Oh, Tshepo Mohlala.
Yeah.
But you know what? You are your brand.
I am my brand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
you know, like, I was just like chatting to, thank you, to Lebo, right, at the back. And I'm like, Esh Buffet, because I'm tall and handsome and I'm dark. So I might be long. So I was like, you know, I'm going to sit in the back. Melody, you know this, though. Come on. Like, isn't it obvious? That's why we won overall best brand of the year or something like that, right? It was based on looks. I'm joking. You know, last year when we got nominated for the awards, so Pat gives me a call, and I'm in Dubai, living the designer's life, you know, in a yacht, shaking my ass, joking. So I never got to like actually give a speech, you know. And so this morning I was actually thinking about it. Like for me, I guess like the question that they asked me, like Tshepo, what would you say to people who wanna be part of the top 16 brand award? But I think the first important thing for me was to just be thankful, appreciative of everybody who's walked the journey with me from day one. I started with only 100 pairs of jeans, and today we have multiple stocks of jeans that we're making and we're selling. And I want to be appreciative to the media. I see Andile, who's been like one of our first brand ambassadors, like from day one, you know, in 2015, where there was no hope and everybody was asking, who's this Tshepo guy, who's this Tshepo guy? And media came on to my assistance and was like, yo, jump on this guy, jump on this guy. You know, extending Mang Drive, I'm like to myself, you know, what would I say to Tshepo, the young Tshepo? Because the young Tshepo was actually struggling with identity. He was struggling with finding himself in the world. And, you know, today I'm standing here in the middle of Sandton, and we've got one of the best stores in the country. And I'm like, damn, we've really built a beautiful brand, you know. So today I would like to say to everybody who's actually struggling to find their voice, you know, like we as Tshepo, we created a brand, we created an identity that tens and thousands of people today wear with pride. You know, when I see Pat wearing a Tshepo t-shirt, I feel so nervous. Like, I'm so shy. Like, I'd met so many people in December wearing the t-shirt, and I'm like, do I say hello and introduce myself? And, you know, like, finding your voice is that thing. It's like being able to be comfortable in your own skin. You know, as entrepreneurs, you know, it's one of the toughest things to ever do. And Lebo just said something very close to my heart. Building a brand is one of the most hardest things you can ever do, you know. And sitting here today, most of you guys are brand builders, I assume. I see some brand people in here. And for me, these awards, they actually mean like celebrating African excellence, celebrating the African dream. You know, I believe that we do have an African dream now. We're living in an African dream. There was never a time in Africa or in the world where Africans could sit in spaces like this without the fear of being killed, without the fear of you know, like without that fear. Today we're living in a world where we can explore, we can send our stuff overseas and abroad, and people can have a real taste of Africa. So I just want to say to everybody who's part of this journey, who's gonna be nominated, who's gonna be submit or apply. English inzima guys, but yeah, I just want to say to everybody who is going to submit, who's going to apply, good luck. And I am actually kind of happy to be one of the first few guys to have won the crown at the first Patton Brands or Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards. And I'm wishing everybody luck. And they said I must stand here when I'm done talking. I don't know why. I'm done, Pamela. Thank you.
Say you're not a man of many words, because I didn't expect you to finish so quickly.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So I'd like to welcome on some questions from the media, potential sponsors, and anyone who is a brand and hoping to get to that level of getting people from overseas buying their stuff, or even getting to a point where they are nominated to be an overall top achieving brand at the Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards. So the floor is open for any questions. Going once? Oh, there you go.
Hi, my name's Asanda. I'm from the Rosebank Kilani Gazette. I've got a question for you. How has winning the award inspired you to do greater? Thank you.
How has it inspired me to do greater? I think for me it was just a pat on the back. You know, it was a reminder that Mfana, you are doing good. You are on the right track, you know. And if people like this, or if platforms like this can see you, you know, and give you overall, like when we work and we make beautiful work, we don't make it for awards. We make it for our people and for our customers and people who wear our brand and who live our brand. So when stuff like this happens to us, for me, it's like, it's a reminder that you're on the right track. And no matter how difficult entrepreneurship can be, never give up.
Sanbanani Kama from Zanzi Boss Lady Online Magazine. I just want to find out from you, Tshepo Uguti. Obviously, you're encouraging a lot of people to enter, to put their names forward. But for somebody who wants to put their name forward, I'm sure, Uguti, they would want to know from you, Uguti, how has the award that you won last year, what impact has it had on your brand? How has it changed your life? And what difference has it made towards brand yako? Thank you.
Sure. You know, because like there's so many things that are happening in our brand, right? Like, so I wouldn't necessarily pinpoint to one thing. But last night I was googling myself on a different laptop, and I was like, Google Tshepo. So I googled Tshepo, and Tshepo Jeans comes to the top when you search it. So for me, I feel like platforms like this has really helped in terms of putting our name out there and helping us own the name, the SEO. Because before, mawufaku Tshepo Jeans, bokuvela zonke lezi amanye amagenge lawo, you know, and today we're there and we're not paying for SEOs or any stuff like that at the moment. So I believe that being part of the overall winners and the PR and the campaigns around it has truly helped us be at the top. When you search for best African jeans, Tshepo Jeans is right there at the top, and we don't pay for those kind of things. So I think that's the impact that is coming directly from being in a platform like this.
One more question. Okay, we have someone here. You can start. You can go.
Hello everyone, such a pleasure to be here. My name is Noni Kumalo and I'm from YFM. So I mean, this makes sense, right? I don't know if I'm taking you back, but I love stories and I want you to contrast the very beginning of your journey and just a moment where you thought, I know Shemfan, you've arrived.
Is there ever a moment where you're gonna feel like you've arrived? But sometimes I look back and I'm very grateful, you know. Yesterday I was shouting at my team because I'm like, guys, why do I have to remind you things? Like, as an accountant, it's your job. You know, like, why do I have to remind you, cost this things? But like, and I remembered because I'm a jack of all trades. So I've been in the business from being the cleaner to the seamstress to the salesman to the accountant. And I understand the agency of everything. You know, when you're working for a small business, you have to be agile. And then I'm like, why are you guys so comfortable? And I realized because we've built a business, we've built a brand and a business that supports the brand. And for me, yesterday, I had that hoo-ha moment of saying, actually, Mtshepo, you can actually leave right now at 12 o'clock and go home and sleep, you know? And I'm in that position, but I don't do that. I work. I get to work at 6:30 every day with no fail. And I'm the last one to leave. But like that moment has made me reflect on where I come from. And lastly, I think in my personal life, you know, when I look at my personal life and the things that I've achieved in my personal life, the fact that and today Mblome Kumenshin is a different story, you know. So for me, it's those kind of things, like, they really, like, I don't take it for granted what we've achieved as a brand.
A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Tshepo, I think for me, it's a story around originality. Now, we know that initially when you brought out the brand, people were not very receptive to that. Why should I wear another guy's name written Tshepo? But I want to tap into the future of originality. How do we then help people understand the power of your story And also maybe looking at don't try to allow people to discourage you, even though you believe in your vision. Thank you.
Melody Kuluma Grand. How do we encourage people to be themselves? Basically, right? I think, you know, when I started Tshepo, it was hard. Like, I remember this one day I was sitting with a friend of mine, he's like in marketing, and I'm like, yo, like, I'm gonna do this, right? So he says to me, you need to write down Tshepo everywhere. So Tshepo the Jean Maker, that's where it started. So I'd write down Tshepo the Jean Maker everywhere. Like, literally when I'd meet a person, I'm like, Uban Kamalako, oh, Pamela Sharp, Tshepo the Jean Maker. I forgot who, that's how I had to like literally, yeah, like you know, like believe in it first before I could sell it to the world. And when I put it out there to the world, I believe like we kind of first generation of those guys who stood up and said it's cool to be black. You know, I think we are in an era where being a black fashion designer is super cool. You know, the best fashion designer who just passed on, Virgin Abloh, who stood on a big platform, and a big world platform, and sold billions of items to people around the world, is Virgin Abloh. And for him, being there has truly opened the doors for people who look like us. You know, and so today, I believe that like young people who are struggling or who have issues of being themselves, I think they have to look at us and what we've achieved, what we've gone through. They won't go through the same bashing that I went through. You know, they won't go through the whole public scrutiny. They won't go through, because Tshepo has done it. Say, yeah, right, it's old school. You know, come up with something new. So I think like we've paved the way, and we're the originals, and hence we are the ones with the crowns. If you know what I mean.
Hola.
Hola.
Fede.
Nani Jayam.
Yeah, since you mentioned uzosihostani.
Zwakala Friday, boy.
No, man, I just wanted to ask, right? I think, you know, because the conversation is youth-owned brands. You know, often time, you know, I think in my personal interactions with a lot of entrepreneurs, individuals that own brands, there's a disparity and a confusion in terms of how you actually seek out collaborations from one brand to another. How have you picked which small business or brand or colleague-related brand to collaborate with? What are some of the things that you look out for? And when you actually say no, what is it based off?
I think, you know, making a product is a very collaborative process. For instance, like the T-shirt that Mr. Pat is wearing over here is made by some of our friends in KZN, right? And the cotton is farmed in Limpopo. So for us, we already like start collaborating from a grassroots, like ground, like really, really at the ground. Like the product is truly made in SA. So I went to the farm, I procured the cotton. I went to find the guy who can spin in SA. I went to a guy who can actually cut, make, and trim and send it back. And then our neighbors in Victoria Yards are the ones who do the printing for us. So we start collaborating from that perspective. And the next layer, how do we choose other people that we collaborate with? I mean, we've worked with a whole lot of different corporates in South Africa who, for me, I think have the same values as I do. You know, like I don't give my work or any product to any CMT who can just make things. I go in there because I have to check, how do you treat your people? How is your working condition? Because next thing we have to bulelane da Gusem Jondolo, and they're making my product, and Tshepo is selling it for a premium. So I truly like go into the value system. I understand who makes it, where it's made, how it's made, who touches it, and the people that make it, they also know me. So sometimes when I'm like, $80,000 fast, you know, so I have that relationship. And with brand collaborations, like I said, we've worked with a whole lot of different corporate companies that share the same values as us. You know, and for me, that's the most important thing beyond money, beyond making the money, because I think for the next 10 years, it's hard to build a name, and it's really quick to drop it, you know. So for us, it's like very important for the people to share the same values as art. And lastly, like the energy, man. Mangabe siya vibe, as in the energy siya vibe. That's it, dog. Like sometimes just stingy vibe. You know, if there's no vibe, then there's no creativity. There's no need for us to try and make things work. I think. I could be wrong.
Yes, my name is Fred Mahato. I'm the CEO of the Franchise Association. In terms of your growth in future and legacy, do you intend on remaining the corporate store, or would you consider going to franchising?
Sure, like every day, like I get challenged with that, you know, because the brand is at a space where it is bigger than me, right? So I have to let it go. And letting it go, does that mean that I'm gonna open up 8,000 stores in SA, or does that mean, so my expansion plan for the next 5 years is to build probably the next 3 or 4 stores in SA, and then build our business abroad as well, and then bring it back and build like a bigger online presence. That's the first stage, the first 5 years. But should the time come and needs be that Mvana inyugu na isakaya right, we can buy you out. I mean, everybody has a price, right? I mean, like if somebody can buy me for $1 billion, I'm out. I'm joking. I'll stay with 1%, but like then like they can do whatever. But I think for me, where we are, we're still building a brand. We still want to build that global identity and that global presence. So I can't just give it yet as franchises, because franchising is kind of, it's dangerous for a brand sometimes. You know, people can misuse it. So yeah, for the next couple of years, I won't be franchising. But maybe I'll take your phone number, and you never know. Any more questions, or are we done?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yo, what's up, man?
Sean Pinch.
Super proud of you, man. Congrats again.
Thank you.
So here's a question: is what does sustainability look like for Tshepo Jeans in terms of like your materials and micro factories outside of Mauritius? What are you looking to achieve when we look at when you look at like the UN Sustainable Development Goals, right? Assuming that your company as well is has a focus on social impact.
So I think because we are Africans, and you cannot talk about sustainability without talking about social impact. It starts with society first. When I moved to Victoria, the first for me, you know, because olela mangula, belvang a train, so permanently at 4 o'clock in the morning, goes to Pretoria, domestic worker, comes back at 10 at night, because trains are like, they take forever, it's darker and all that. So we never had like a proper mother and son and children session. And when I became an entrepreneur, I said, I don't want to impose that to other people. So I decided to be in Victoria Yards, where my employees are people who live in the community, so they walk to work. You know, it takes them 2 minutes to get to work. They can come to work and like have spent some lunch with their parents. So for me, the sustainability started with people, and then it followed to product. We're working on a very beautiful partnership with a paper company, one of the biggest paper companies in the world. So if you think about cotton is one of the most dangerous species or plant in the world, you know, especially in fashion, because it consumes a lot of water, and it leaves the soil very. It kills the soil sometimes. So most of irrigations and some of the seas around the world have gone dry because of cotton farming. So I went to Amsterdam when she was talking. I went to Amsterdam to study denim making. Then we spoke about sustainability, and I found this fiber called tencel, which is like it's a much more sustainable way of farming cotton. So tencel is from the eucalyptus tree. The eucalyptus tree lands the eucalyptus, and then Seppi makes paper with it, and then the juice that's left, or the pulp that's left, gets used. Some of it gets used as a glue that you put on the street for tar before they tar the road, and then the other one gets used to mix peels. So peels are mixed using that pulp, and then the certain layer of that pulp gets woven and spun into a fiber called tencel, and that fiber is a alternative for cotton, which is one of the most sustainable. So we're making one of the most true pair of jeans in the world, made from tencel that comes from the Midlands, cotton that comes from in Limpopo, and the jeans are going to be available in Woolworths in the next couple of months. Don't tell anybody I said there's no more questions. I'm done.
Thank you so much, Tshepo. Thank you so much. That was amazing. I feel like hearing Tshepo speak about his brand as much as he did really shows that like he's in it. He works directly in it. He's not just putting a sticker or indonga phezulu phezu skipati, let it go for sale. He's actually putting in the work. As far as farming the cotton, I think he deserves a round of applause for that. That is truly amazing. Before we officially close off and open up to networking, I'd like to welcome on stage Pat to actually speak to us about Pat on Brands and Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards for this year, 2023. Just 3, 4, 5 questions, however many questions you have for him. I think he's one of the people we actually want to hear from because this initiative was created by him and obviously powered by the partners and sponsors. So come through. Tshepo, if you mic yam.
Watch you branded, man. A pat on the back is a
Pat,
pat from the
tell
man.
me,
Better be branded, man. A pat from the pat is a pat on the brand. If it's enormous, flawless, gorgeous, don't be
In a jive, let go.
making a move, making a hustle, all in the making a borders.
I'm sorry, but you stick to brands. Stick to brands. Okay. So does anyone have a question for Pat before we officially close off? We're opening it up to 3 really strong questions. Really strong ones. 5, 4, 3. There's a hand over here. There's a hand over here. There you go. Is it on? Uh-oh. Aibo, let me give you this one. Sorry.
Hi, Pat. Patty from Nalosa Media. Absolutely fabulous work that you've done with the awards. Bearing that in mind, is there anything else that could be done as a potential sponsor that we could do to come on board to say, okay, look, what challenges are you facing and how do we overcome those? And yeah, if we can just get a better idea of what challenges you're facing and how we as potential sponsors could assist in that regard.
Thank you, Patty. I like your voice and your name. So I mean, the challenges that you're facing at the moment, really, and I'm glad you say as a potential sponsor and you coming from Nalesa Media, really want to dial up on our awareness. You know, that's the sort of biggest challenge because once you got the awareness, once you get the brand out there and people know it's a credible brand, it's a good brand, the other stuff follows, you know. So primarily, really, I'm excited that you consider yourself as a potential sponsor or partner in this, and you own a media platform. So if you can just give us airtime, man. If you can just give us airtime for a start, you know, Standard Bank will give us money. I'm kidding.
When you spoke, I saw in love emojis when you spoke. I was like, oh my gosh, potential sponsor. Okay, I'm just going to pass this mic around.
Hi, Sanbolan Umbalimba Tafuti. Pat, I just wanted to find out from you, Uguti, after the nominees have won the awards, how do you continue supporting the brands going forward so that after the awards ceremony, the hype doesn't die down?
Thank you for that question. Brilliant question, I must say. So what we do as the Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards is that we want to establish what we call the Circle of Excellence, which started off with our dinner last year. And also we had some industry experts coming up and saying, look, how do we volunteer our time to actually, for example, give a masterclass to these brands so that they can grow and take their brands to the next level. So this year, you start to see us embarking on a roadshow, for example. That's a start. We're doing the launch. This is something that we didn't do last year. We involved, like for example, Tshepo, we're giving them airtime. So it's really about continuing to tell that story. You know, if you look at our socials, after the actual event, we started sort of profiling and telling more stories about our winners. So at the core of it is to establish that circle of excellence, which is our community, through which also we call upon any sort of big corporate or brand to come in on board and to use us as a conduit to tap into the youth-owned brands. Like, for example, we did a great partnership last year with Brand South Africa, where some of our winners were given a platform, at the Nation Brand Forum, which is the biggest in the country in terms of just discussing the future and the current of South Africa's economy. So our winners were on that stage and really sharing what their journey is all about. So it's all about also us continuing to finding the right partners that stand for what we believe in and really to have an impact on our winners.
Sorry, me again, Pat. Firstly, again, congratulations, my brother. I'm not sure if I might have missed it, but the criteria of the brands that can apply was something that I kind of didn't hear. Some people might think it's how much you make as a turnover, or is it just because of how far you've pushed your brand? And how do we separate in terms of originality? Because we've seen brands, again, having a similar outlook or touch and feel. How are you guys looking to get into that when you deal with your criteria? Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Melody. So there's two layers, in terms of awarding our winners. And I think our judge did explain the process is that first it begins with the public casting their nomination, saying, okay, cool, we're nominating Tshepo. Last year we had about 485 nominees, and those brands were then shortlisted by our judges, who then also use a different criteria to the top 60. And then it was back to the public for voting, and obviously 16 brands ended up winning. So the criteria for you to get nominated or to qualify to be shortlisted is simple. So we say, number one, age is very important. We cannot compromise on that because we can't have 40 years sort of dominating. So we're saying between the ages of 18 and 35, you need to, you can enter. Number two, you must have some sort of visibility. And how does that visibility look like? Do you have an online footprint? Because also, we can't be using measures like revenue, you know what I mean? Most of these brands are still starting out. Some of them don't even have financials to begin with, but we cannot discourage them from entering because we don't have financials. But we're saying, look, you've built a brand, you've started a website, you've got a website, you've got some digital footprint, you've partnered with some brands, therefore you can enter. And the biggest thing is that you must have been around for longer than at least a year, and we all know the statistics around, the number of small businesses that fail, it's staggering. But also when I say, look, 3 years, 5 years is quite a long time. In these things, most of us are first generation entrepreneurs in our communities, so it's important that we are not too stringent in terms of our criteria, from an entry's perspective. So in a nutshell, that's our criteria, very simple, 18 to 35, must have some digital footprint, either website or social media. You must have been around for longer than a year. And of course, you must be operating in South Africa and be South African. Then also, in terms of our judges, we spoke about originality. So our judges, that's what they look at, in terms of how do you apply your brand's DI, your distribution channels, are you only just selling through WhatsApp or social media, or if you've got multiple touch points where people can buy. So all those things then get weighted. There's a weighting sheet, then they score them, then based on the score, obviously, you then get shortlisted. Then it's back to the public for voting. Thank you. Any other question? Fez, why is it only the same people that ask the questions? Fez.
Okay. Okay, they're great.
Testicle. Pat, so look, man, I really don't have much of a question, but I have a suggestion that could be posed as a question, right? So seeing as I was also like one of the winners last year, and just like the other delegates in this room, how about instead of trying to nominate a judge however way that Lebo suggested, why don't the previous winners become the judges? So in that way, every single year, you have people, you have like, we're like passing over the baton to the next group of people. And that's how we accelerate growth and show that we're actually unifying ourselves in that way.
Okay. Thank you for that suggestion, Faz. I will think about it, and I'll also consult with my judges. You know, but it's a good suggestion. But also remember, at the end of the day, we need to also strike a balance, right? Because there's something that the judges bring, you know, that we won't get from the entrepreneur themselves. And I'll give you an example. In terms of our judges, I mean, we had people from academia, right? We had people from academia. We had people that built businesses from scratch and have grown them to become something. We have marketers that have sort of, you know, journeyed throughout various stages of marketing. So all that experience is not something that you can take for granted, coming together and actually making sure that we have quality brands that end up being winners, you know. So it's a good suggestion, but I think there needs to be that balance, and we cannot lose the credibility that experienced marketers bring to the table. Thank you.
And I think we will close it there. Thank you so much, Pat.
Yeah, but I'm kidding. I just want to express my gratitude to every single one of you for coming through today. It really means a lot. You could have been elsewhere. You could have been on a Zoom meeting, or you could have selling something, but you chose to be with us this morning, and that really means a lot to me. And also to our winners, you know, without you also, the Yobas, you know, they are nothing. You know, it would have been just an idea if it wasn't for you guys having started the brands and really inspiring us to give you the recognition. And also to our 2022 sponsors, you know, the likes of Sakum Noto, that really, you know, believed in the idea. You don't know how many times I pitched the idea and people are like, with or without us, is this thing gonna happen? And I was like, it will happen. And it happened. Because some brands believed in it. They didn't look at it at first value, be like, oh, let's see first. You know, so Sakum Noto, Knickknacks, Black Crown, UJFM, Reveal Digital Out of Home, you know, Kumalo and Mabuya, chartered accountants, they audited the results. So again, the credibility of these awards become very important. You know, that's why we made use of Kumalo and Mabuya, chartered accountants, to be our auditors. You know, so in a nutshell, this is, for it to come to life, it took a community of people. Where's Mpumi? Oh, are you there? You know, Mpumi's voice, also volunteering every time when you call upon her, really to contribute to our marketing efforts, and I appreciate you for that. All right. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Get home safe, or get up to work safe, those that are starting their work right now. And to you, Pamela, thank you, man. Thank you for honoring the invite and really being a great host. And to my team, where are they? With black shirts. Come to the stage. Aibo. They are shy. Thank you so much.
Could you please give Pat a round of applause one more time? I think you said everything that I wanted to say in closing, but I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you. You could have been somewhere on a yacht, like Tshepo said, shaking something that I do not like to say out loud, but you chose to be here today. And as I said, you guys look like very important and rich people. So thank you so much for giving us the privilege of your presence. To close things off, that's our time. Okay, sorry. So as I was saying, and for anyone who is writing anything and still needs a bit more information to speak to some of the winners from last year, to some of the sponsors, And to some of the media partners or even brands present today, please do make sure you use this opportunity. The event is not over. The next 30 minutes is for networking. So please do make use of that opportunity. And as your host for the day, I'd like to say thank you so much for having me. My name is Pamela Mtanga. It's been a pleasure.
It's Pat on Brands. Watch how you brand it, man. A pat on the back is a pat from the man. Let it be branded, man. A pat from the pat is a pat on the brand. If it's enormous, flawless, gorgeous, don't be cautious, cordless. Making a move, making a hustle, all in the making a ballers. Watch how you brand it, man. A pat on the back is a pat from the man. Let it be branded, man. A pat from the pat is a pat on the brand. If it's enormous, flawless, gorgeous, don't be cautious, cordless. Making a move, making a hustle, all in the making a ballers. Pushing a passion, make it a fashion, get in a ration. A market share, a market there, get in a market share. What you been doing different? Make sure your juice ain't missing. Pushing a mission, no competition in division. Listen, watch how you brand it, man. A pat on the back is a pat from the man. Let it be branded, man. A pat from the pat is a pat on the brand. If it's enormous, flawless, gorgeous, don't be cautious, corners. Making a move, making a hustle, all in the making a ballers.
I'm a giddy giddy razor. I'm a giddy giddy razor. When you look gangster.
Pat. It's Pat on Brands. Watch how you brand it, man. A pat on the back is a pat from the man. Let it be branded, man. A pat from the pat is a pat on the brand. If it's enormous, flawless, gorgeous, don't be cautious, cordless. Making a move, making a hustle, all in the making a ballers. Watch how you brand it, man. A pat on the back is a pat from the man. Let it be branded, man. A pat from the pat is a pat on the brand. If it's enormous, flawless, gorgeous, don't be cautious, cordless. Making a move, making a hustle, all in the making a ballers. Pushing a passion, make it a fashion, get in a ration. A market share, a market there, get in a market share. What you been doing different? Make sure your juice ain't missing. Pushing a mission, no competition in division. Listen, watch how you brand it, man. A pat on the back is a pat from the man. Let it be branded, man. A pat from the pat is a pat on the brand. If it's enormous,